Well, folks, good evening to one and all, and welcome to our favorite spot on a Wednesday night. Sports and GT Masters, pretty much originally where it started. It started off with sports and GTs, when the young guns came along, and then the old hands said, hold on a second, let's do a series of our own, and still remains one of the most popular series out there, no doubt about it. Every Wednesday night, apart from we have the MSA GTE and the Porsche Cup Series, which will be carrying MSA awarded titles for 2023. Coming to you from the second year production studio, live down here in Cape Town. The voice of Western Province Motorsport, joining Gaza in the house, Frankie Hennis. Frankie, good evening to you.
Yes, Gaza, good evening, and hello to everybody else at home. And look at that lovely racetrack. We come to you from the Daytona International Motor Speedway at Daytona Beach in Florida. We're doing the road course. The track is just over 5.6 k's, nearly 5.7, and only 11 meters above sea level, because not far from this track you've got Daytona Beach actually, so it's right there on the shoreline. 18 degrees outside, clear skies, and a 3 km/h wind. Track temperature is at this point in time exactly the same as outside. Why? Because it is in the dark out there at the Daytona International Motor Speedway.
Qualifying's just started, 2 minutes into qualifying, 10 minutes in total, and looking down from upstairs, that is Dr. Mike Berrier, 8call247, and Sujin Properties, normally the logos on the side of that motor car. And well, we're out there with a prototype vehicle this evening.
Yeah, the CHEV Corvette C7 Daytona prototype. That's what the guys are driving, and as you can hear, those cars are thundering away. That is 8-cylinder raw power in these CHEV Daytonas.
Well, let's hear what it sounds like from inside. Oh, listen to that. Lots and lots. But this is what Mike Berrier, Jan Hilbracht, Peter van der Spey, these kind of guys, this is the kind of car, the type of thing that they are accustomed to when they do their main racing. So everybody's out there for a warm-up lap, then they'll get 2 flyers, and if they have no off circuits in those flying laps, then you have a situation where it will then register time. The computer gives you 2 opportunities to run around the island, and then thereafter it says good night nurse, go away. And then when you come in after that 10 minutes, it then brings everybody back and puts them into the grid for a rolling start. So given the amount of time that they've got out there, in the not too distant future, we're going to see the best lap times coming up, and will be once they finish lap number 2 and they go past the start finish line, then you'll see the time start coming up on the left hand side. Graham Stephen goes to the front of the field. Peter van der Spey says good evening everybody, and pops into the top end with Francois Joubert above Graham Stephen. Sander Macquarie putting in a quick early lap there as well.
Yeah, you were talking earlier on about drivers that love this type of cars. Remember Gary Johan Fourie, back then he became Westbank V8 supercar champion, and he became SASCAR champion as well. So he's the type of man that also loves these V8s. And Peter van der Spey, my word, a 1 minute 39.282 provisional pole for Van der Spey, with the Francois Joubert doing a 139.425, and Luc Lequez, he pops up into that second position with a 139.425 for Luc Lequez. Van der Spey holding on to that provisional pole for now. Peter Joubert is the man that you're riding aboard with there. He's got the Shell Pennzoil and the Menards color scheme. That is the Monster Energy Daytona prototype of Johan Fourie, and Johan sticks it in pole with a 1 minute 38.731.
Van Engelbrecht out there as well. He's done his first flying lap, and nice to see that Mike Berrier is actually qualifying out again for a long time. He had one error, then he said, I tell you what, I'm going to be the sportsman, I'm going to start at the back of the pack. And I think he enjoyed that coming off the back of the pack all the time, but I think he's realized now that he's pretty much on the pace, and he's now creating a situation where he goes out in practice as well. Graham Stephen puts in a faster time. Francois Joubert and Johan Fourie now popped Peter van der Spey onto the second row of the grid. Herman Lazarus on his first fly with a cheapcars.co.za entry, as always resplendent in blue, and they also the main sponsors of GTI Challenger as well, very much involved with the GTI Challenger Milan International alongside Alert Engine Space. Steve McCarthy out there as well. Steve McCarthy being 140.3, so fair little gap that we've got in there. Willem Pienaar in there as well, and he puts up a nice time. Gerald Fourie just outside the top 10.
Yeah, with the target color scheme, it's one of two cars that's got the target color scheme on, and that one is the Gerald Fourie car. There is Colin Plitt in the 75 GoPro sponsored outfit there of Colin Plitt, also a man that races sports and GT. Johannes van der Merwe, that's JJ van der Merwe so far in that 17th position with a 141.262, and then Gerald Mauger. There's also one of two cars. He's got the Golfer colored outfit. He is one, and Graham Stephen is the other man out there that's got the Golf color scheme. Then the Wins car of Swiss Joubert.
I was just going to say, it almost looks like the Wins color. It's just a version of the Wins colors.
Well, it does say Wins on the side there. So he is currently in 18th with a 141.485, and the man that is in the pink car this evening, Ian Riddle. And I must say, it's a camouflage, the pink color scheme there for Ian. And he is in second last place with a 1 minute 41.824 so far for Ian Riddle.
So we'll have to see if Eugene Minuk can still put up time. There's Eugene Minuk. Oh, that's a lovely scheme. That one for he's going to pit lane. He's finished his laps. I think Francois Joubert has, well, he's still out on circuit. So Francois Joubert already on the front row of the grid. But the only thing he can do is get onto the correct side of the grid. Peter van der Spey finished his time. Luke easy, he's still out there. Can Luke bump himself onto the front row of the grid? Comes past the start finish line and a 139.993, so just 16 slower than the previous one. Can Peter Joubert get himself up? Nope, he's finished his times. And Willem Botha, here comes Willem Botha as he goes across the line, and he go a little bit higher up. He's done a 139.6. And looks like that's about as far as he's going to be able to go with that one. We've just got a little bit more than a minute and a bit to go with Johan Fourie that's now pulled into the pits. Willem Pienaar still out there. And it's Castro colours, very nice colour scheme, I must say. Very well known colour scheme, Frank, international motorsport.
Yeah, Castrol Motor Oil is huge all over the world, and the Caltex brand here in South Africa, and the GTX Motor Oil is, as you say, very well known all over the world. So there's 40 seconds left as everybody's probably finished their last qualifying stint. That's Van der Merwe. Let's see if he can sneak in one. No, well, he's gone past the start-finish line, so he's not going to get any higher than 17th position. Eugene Minuk in the Warsteiner car. Now, if my facts are right, back in the day, the Arrows Formula One F1 team boasted those colors, but now you're going to the 1980s, somewhere around there, when they had that color scheme on. So 45 seconds left in the qualifying session, and I don't know if Minuk is going to be able to bet himself. Where is Eugene? I don't see him on that leaderboard, as a matter of fact.
He hasn't got it that time up yet, so it's now or never. If it wasn't in that, it's going to show. If it wasn't, well, then he's going to be unclassified when they go on to the start of the grid. There he goes across the line, Eugene Minuk, 1:43.061, which probably means, Frankie, that it is his second lap that he's done out there, but he must have had an off track in the first lap that he did, and he's not registering on the computer system.
Well, only two of them out there with 138s. That is Fourie and Joubert, 138.6 and a 138.9. The 10 minutes qualifying session is done, and that will be the grid as you see them there. Johan Fourie and Francois Joubert in row 1. Row 2, Peter van der Spey, lovely Captain Pete and Luc Lequesi. Row 3, Peter Joubert and Willem Botha. Row 4, Mike Vera and Graham Stephen. And row 5, Robbie Teens and Sandra Bakari.
Johan Engelbrecht finds himself just outside of the top 10, and he's got Gerald Ferry, the father of Leighton Ferry, alongside him. Emma Lazarus with Steve McCarthy, the man from Sujin Properties. Willem Pienaar with Colin Plitt, and that rounds out the top 8 rows of the grid.
Then Johannes van der Merwe, Ian Riddle. Row 10, Sway Schubert and Gerald Maget. And row 11 will be Wayne Camage, Jean Manouk, and Renier Hubert will start stone last. He did not put up any form of a time at all, did Renier Hubert. He will start in 23rd and last position.
Wow, that's a long way down. But maybe, Frankie, I speak under correction, maybe he has got some infringement from a previous event, and his given gains is that he has to start at the back of the pack for the next race. That is possible. Let's hope that that's the case, and not that his computer is not linked in properly with the system, and hence not giving him an opportunity to get a timed lap. Because I didn't see any movement on my internal telemetry here at all, and he has not gridded yet either. He is not on the grid. Swayze Hubert comes in, so he's in there. The only man that's not on the grid is in fact Renier Hubert, and I think he's going to run out of time to be actually be able to get onto the grid. It's now or never. Not looking good. Off the line they come in. Renier Hubert doesn't show. Maybe he's going to be starting from the pit lane. Let's hope that's the case. We've got a full field of 23 out of the 25 registered for the 22 portion of season 5.
So they started off at the back at the Lamar chicane. Now they'll be making their way into a turn number. Let's have a look and see. That'll be turn number 1. And then they should making their way through on the banked oval. And then they'll make their way towards the start-finish line. So that is heading towards the start-finish line. Then from there, it is very, very, very tricky. That's coming out of turn 3. And then they're going into turn number 4. And then there's the Sunoco board, which means they're heading towards that start-finish line. You'll see that a checkered flag line run across the circuit. And they're pretty much spaced out at the back of the field as the safety car pulls into pit lane. The moment they come around that left-hander, they will get the green lights on, and away they go as they drop them as 1 hour of iRacing Master Series. Now they're going to dive into turn number 1. This is where it gets technical indeed. Oh, already they're running high and wide. They're trying to get through that very technical turn number 1. Juan Fourie and Luc Lecchesi is sitting out there in P1 and P2. François Hubert is there in that 3rd position. Mike Verrier is sandwiched between those target cars. There's drama. There's drama going out through the dogleg section. Already we've got problems out there in the dogleg section as they can head back out now onto the oval. They're going to do a right-hander, and then from there a little bit of a squirt, and then they'll turn it left and go back into the oval once again. So it is Mike Verrier that's gone up into that 3rd position. Verrier sits out there in 3rd place, and one of the casualties was definitely Luc Lecchesi. I do not see. No, Luc Lecchesi sits out there in P1. No casualty for Luc. He's the man that sits out there in P1. François Hubert is in 2nd, and right on his case is Mike Fourie. Mike Fourie, listen to me. Mike Verrier. Verrier sitting out there in 3rd. All over the back of him is Gerald Fourie. A lovely start there by Gerald, and you'll soon see the intervals come up. Then we can tell you exactly what it's like between Hubert, Verrier, and Gerald Fourie.
Well, now just outside of the top 5, he's got the black car of Johan Engelbrecht there behind him. Engelbrecht running a little bit wider as they go out onto the banked circuit. And the next one coming through there is going to, in fact, Johan Fourie. It's going to be the next one that comes through there. There's Johan Fourie right in there behind him. And that's what's going to make the difference when you pick up that slipstream and you get as close as you possibly can.
Not a good start out there for Johan Fourie. Qualified on the front row. There was drama in lap number 1, and that put Johan all the way down in that 8th position. So it's a lot of work to do there. There's Wayne Camage And you saw Van der Merwe there with him as well. But back to the man that sits up there in P1. It is Luc Leclerc, and he's 5/10 of a second ahead there of Francois Hubert. That is in that second position. They have broken away from the rest of the field. But look at this. Gerald Fourie in that third place has got Mike Verrier and Graham Stephen all over his back bumper. Mike Verrier in the 8 call 24/7 sitting right there in P4, all over the back there of Gerald Fourie, and right there with them is Graham Stephen. Graham Stephen right in there in that fifth position, and he's only 6/10 of a second. Is Graham behind Mike.
A little bit further back, there comes Willem Pienaar, and he's got that train in there behind Johan Engelbrecht, Johan Fourie, and then Sander Bakari once again having a good run is Sander Bakari.
Yeah, not too far behind them, only 1.1 seconds, which is nothing, is JJ van der Merwe. Oh, Johan Fourie, oh, he's getting it all wrong. It's turning into a nightmare for him. He's just ahead there of van der Merwe is Johan Fourie. He's dropped slightly away now from Engelbrecht, Pienaar and Bakari by making that second mistake. So, well, that is a mistake by him. The first time I think he was assisted off the circuit. But look, is in P1, Francois Hubert. There was an overtaking maneuver there. Francois Hubert is in P1. He's going to lose that P1, but he is the quickest man out there. He just put up the quickest time there and then lost that P1 to Luc Leclerc.
Passing maneuver. Get a nice tailgate all the way up on that inside line. They'll run all the way through that bank corner. Leclerc will look to see if he can come all the way around the outside. It's closed off just as they gain the corner. But because of the fact that Francois Hubert was so good going in on the brakes, there was nothing he could do. But then he ran it a little bit too deep and too wide. And Luc Leclerc, not getting phased by that whatsoever, made a plan and made sure he was in the right place at the right time. Let's look at some of those incidents that started in the first lap already. Willem Botha, let's see what happened to Willem. All went well up until then, climbed on the brakes, and unfortunately he got turned around from behind. The next man that was involved in that one was Johan Engelbrecht. Let's see how Johan Engelbrecht phased himself into that incident. Johan Engelbrecht, that's the black car, and behind the oh, he had nowhere to go. He had nowhere to go. Cars tumbling and turning, and eventually he's plowed his way through that one. Willem Botha was then also involved in an incident right at the beginning. In fact, the very same incident. Let's see where Willem goes, and yeah,
that's the car that you see rolling. Yeah, that's Botha.
Sander Bakari is also involved in that one, so I would like to see exactly where they fitted into it and or didn't. And that's when Sander was trying to work his way through, and that's let's go back to the front end of the field, back to the easy.
Well, a lot of drivers. That all happened between the two horseshoes in the dog deck section. That was the replay of all of that chaos and carnage. However, we're on lap number 4, 5 minutes and 40 seconds into the 1 hour. And it's a Leclerc 3/10 of a second ahead of Francois Hubert. Those are the two driver car combinations, the big CHEV Corvette C7 Daytonas, and here is Graham Stephen. He's got Gerald Fourie and Mike Vera right on his case there. 6/10 of a second between Stephen and Fourie, and 2/10 between Gerald Fourie and Dr. Mike Vera. That rounds off the top 5. We ride aboard with the doctor, Rico Barlow Racing, and an 8 call 24/7 of the doc himself in that thundering V8 Chevy Daytona, and he is right there with the Fourie. Only 2/10 of a second splitting Gerald Fourie from Mike Verrier.
Look at that, very, very close. Is that close enough though to be able to pick up the tow? Yes, I think so. I think that 8 24/7 car is going to be closing on Gerald Fourie, but Gerald Fourie is also getting the tow from Graham Stephen at the same time. So that's also playing into that one. Sam Bakari closing on the back of Willem Pienaar.
Yeah, Fourie just got past the Pienaar, and that gap between Fourie and Pienaar will get bigger and bigger. Now let's have a look and see what Sander Bakari will do. There he goes and dives out onto the outside. It is the Castrol car versus the Target car. And who's got the inside line for that corner? Well, that will be Pienaar. So Pina will hang on to that position just ahead there of Sandro Bakari. As we have a look once again here, that's a replay of Francois Hubert taking the lead away there from Luc Lequesi. Yep, for the second time, will Francois hang on to it this time? Going into that difficult turn number 1. And Hubert in the Just Race car is there in P1, 5/10 of a second behind now second place man, Luc Lequesi.
So Graham Stephen just a little bit further back. There comes Graham Stephen, and then you've got trio. There's Gerald Ferry and Mike Verriers in there as well. Then there's a bit of a gap going further back from them, all the way back to that man, Ferry. And he's just somehow not had much happiness recently, frankly. I don't know, somehow he just finds himself at the wrong place at the wrong time. So Johan Ferry finds a 2-second gap from Willem Pienaar, but Sandro Bakari once again in the hunt again in the top 10 and goes around on the outside.
Well, around on the outside goes Sandro Bakari and Willem Pienaar, and this time through the Lamar chicane they go and head back there into turn number 3 on the Daytona International Speedway bank circuit. There is McCarthy. McCarthy's right in there, just ahead of McCarthy, a split, and both of them are hunting down P10 there of Van der Merwe. Van der Merwe is in P10, and then you have got Plitt and then Steve McCarthy, and then it's this gaggle of cars that's going through here. And right in there behind Stephen McCarthy is that the pink car. There you see him. That is Ian Riddle, and he's 1.3 seconds behind Stephen McCarthy.
Nothing much up front, keep an eye on that gap, 0.2 of a second between Francois Hubert and Luc Lequesi. And the two of them are just dusting and disappearing away from everybody. But Gerald Ferry is starting to make life difficult there for Graham Stephen. One of 2 different cars in the Gulf colors. And I must say, Gerald Ferry, I think he's having one of his best races for a long time. That was a 3-car battle. Whoever was behind him has disappeared.
Yeah, Willem Pienaar sits there in that 5th position now, as he's dropping down because even Herman Lazarus has got his nose ahead there of him. Yes, Mike Vera is gone. Mike Vera is in the pits, as a matter of fact. Mike Vera is in the pits, so there must have been an incident there involving Dr. Mike, because he's in 22nd and second last, well, make it last position, because the New Hubert did not make it out on circuit. So Mike is last and he is in pit lane.
Now, it doesn't show on my telemetry that he was in an accident. It just showed jump to pits, which to my mind might mean that he's got some connectivity problems, because you haven't been in an incident. Why would you jump to pits? That costs you drastically. Gerald Ferry, either way, in that 4th position. Now they've got a gap of 11 seconds as Gerald Ferry and Graham Stephen and the Gulf and the target car can go one-on-one and see what they can do, as the gap between Luc Lequesi and Francois Hubert has now opened up a little bit as well. So these two don't have to worry too much about what's happening up front. They've got their own fight. Colin Plitt trying to make a maneuver as he works his way on that outside line, but not able to do it under brake.
Yeah, right ahead of him there is JJ van der Merwe, and right ahead of van der Merwe is Willem Pienaar. So there is van der Merwe, and there is Plitt right in there behind him. And then Steve McCarthy, he is right on their case as well, followed there by Ian Riddle. This is a replay of Luc Lequesi, the man that's in 2nd position. What did he do wrong? That's that infield. Sexton turns himself completely around. Well, I think he's done enough to hang on to that 2nd place. A lucky chappie is Pantera Racing's Luc Lequesi, not to lose that 2nd place, but now he'll be far behind Francois Hubert. Yeah, as a matter of fact, he's 4.5 seconds behind Francois Hubert. But there's that man that's racing with a pink car today. That is Ian Riddle. He is there in 11th position, only a second behind Stephen McCarthy. But McCarthy is all over the back end there of Colin Plitt. And they are chasing down the man in P8. And that is JJ van der Merwe. There is Plitt just ahead of him. You'll see van der Merwe. But you go back to that fight there. 4P3 and 4, that's Graham Stephen and Gerald Maget. Maget is on the high side, Stephen's on the low side as they work their way back through Gerald Ferry. So yeah, the 2 cars exactly the same, so they are absolutely side by side, Stephen and Ferry. And it is now Graham Stephen that's got his nose ahead there of Gerald Ferry.
Herman Lazarus just pulled off a move on Sandro Bakari. I just saw that on the board. And it looks like the slipstream and run around the outside into where you go off the bank circuit is the one where a lot of the moves are taking place. We see yet another one there. Well, they said rolling start 50% fuel and a probability of 2 stops. It's going to be very interesting stuff. We'll see how that one works out. Steve McCarthy once again having a pretty good race up.
Yeah, Stephen McCarthy in that 10th position. It's a lovely train that's stuck in there behind Willem Pienaar. As a matter of fact, yeah, it is Willem Pienaar, then it is Johannes van der Merwe, then Colin Plitt, then Steve McCarthy, and then Ian Riddle. That's an old group of cars there. It is Pienaar, van der Merwe, Plitt, McCarthy, and Riddle. There is 5 of them in that fight for that 7th position.
Riddle climbed on the brakes. Or was it Peter Hubert? I think it was Peter Hubert that actually climbed on the brakes and tried to make sure that they don't make any contact, and that unfortunately has cost him as he turns himself around. There you see he closes right up, just stands on the brake pedal and spins it around, and that in front of the pink car. And I normally find that riding the pink car is directly linked to having the most incidents from the previous.
Yeah, Ian Riddle out there in that pink car, but here is Francois Hubert, the man that sits out there in P1. And he's going to pick up a couple of back markers, is Francois Hubert. There is Luc Lecchese, that is there in that 2nd place. He's going to put a lap on Mike Verrier for that matter. So there is Mike, and there comes Luc Lecchese through as the cars are blitzing through that shot there on your screen. There's Herman Lazarus, and he is in there just behind Sandro Bakari. Sandro Bakari in that 5th position with Lazarus 0.3 of a second behind him. As a matter of fact, Sandro Bakari is nearly 14 seconds behind Graham Stephen as Wayne Camage pulls into the pit lane.
Colin Plitt already inside of the top 10 ahead of the man that just spun in. Peter van der Spey, that was brilliant earlier on, finds himself just outside of the top 10, but that's because of that initial first lap incident, I'm pretty sure, and that's what's caused that situation. So Colin Plitt on the back of that beautiful and very unique livery of Johannes van der Merwe, otherwise known as JJ, and the two of them as they go past the Sunoco Tower onto the bank circuit.
Yeah, that is Colin Plitt. I just got a glimpse there of Herman Lazarus going through, and he's right on the case of Sandro Bakari. There they go. There is Herman Lazarus, and there is Sandro Bakari through the Lamar chicane. They go now, and the cones have been smashed out the way there.
I was going to say Sandro going very well, but he took the cones and everything as he came out the other side. But he did make up a bit of time. Look at that. Graham Stevens on the move up front. Graham Stevens getting closer and closer on Gerald Fourie.
Yeah, right on the case there of Gerald Fourie is Graham Stevens, only 0.5 of a second between them, and that is that fight for 3rd position. That's the last place on the podium. This is a replay of Peter Hubert, and I think he's going to lose the tail end probably.
That's where he made up the 1 position.
Okay.
Wide. And then you had a situation with Gerald Maget. That's the second of the golf course. That's where golf is not a golf car, it's a racing car. That's where Frankie got mixed up. You see the golf colours exactly the same, and just turning it the opposite way around, and that's what you call the long way around, and getting it back onto the circuit again. So yeah, that must have cost quite a lot of time. So far, so good for everybody up front. Francois Hubert, Luc Lecchese, Gerald Fourie, with the close attentions of Graham Stevens, Sandro Bakari having a very good run. In there behind Herman Lazarus, but he runs it very wide, and that's going to cost him. That's going to cost him.
Yeah, he ran a very, very wide there, did Sandro Bakari, and he's lost a little bit of ground to Lazarus, not much. He's only 0.5 of a second behind Herman Lazarus is that man there, Sandro Bakari. As a matter of fact, they want to put a lap there on Robbie Teams because Sandro's in P6 and Robbie's all the way down in P16. You see him there in there behind them. And this is Gerald Fourie.
Never give
and Graham Stephen for that 3rd position. They're chopping and changing positions. Fourie does have the line for turn number 1. And Stephen's going to have no other option but to tuck in there behind him. Here comes Sander Bakar, is still going one-on-one there with Hammer Lazarus. And then you've got Robbie Teens, who's a back marker. That's deciding to try and unlap himself. Robbie Teens is a back marker. He's in P16, and he's fighting out there with the Sander Bakari and with the Hammer Lazarus. So not exactly what the two of them want. They do not want the back marker to overtake the two of them.
How close they are as they work their way through that. And they say, whoops, he locked up that right hand front in the last section of the braking. That was probably a bit of left foot braking that you saw there. As from the cockpit, you can see just how that circuit has had lots and lots of sun damage and how they have fixed all the cracks on the circuit. But it's still a pretty smooth circuit in general. And it's keeping everybody very much on their toes as the surfaces vary where they are. Remember, on the bank circuit, it's one thing, and on the inner field, it's a completely different type of surface.
Mistake there for Hammer Lazarus, and he'll lose that position to Willem Pienaar. Pienaar will take that position away there from Hammer Lazarus, and behind them is JJ van der Merwe. There goes van der Merwe through, and here comes Francois Hubert is in pit lane. The race leader is in pit lane, and so is second place man Luke Lucchesi. So 18 and a half minutes into this one, the first of the pit stops. Mike did say on the group that they will probably have to do 2 pit stops.
Gerald Fourie, Graham Stephen coming in. Does Sander Bakari go through? We'll see what happens when he works his way down the straight. It's not a long time until he's going to get there. And Sander Bakari goes in. Willem Pienaar goes in. Herman Lazarus goes in. Johannes van der Merwe in there behind that. You see they're all climbing heavily on the brakes to not overshoot the pit speeds. Willem Botha is going to go through, but Ian Riddle and Peter van der Spey have decided, both of them, to go in. What does Colin Plitt do? Well, Colin Plitt's a bit of a way further back. So Luc Lucchesi on his way out of the pits, but Francois Hubert has made his way out of the pits already. So Francois Hubert, off he goes, and he's got a fairly decent gap there on Luc Lucchesi. Wow, there comes Luc Lucchesi now. You can see the funfair going on with the big wheel in the background. Luc Lucchesi working his way through. There comes Willem Botha, and Gerald Fourie is having one of his best races for a long, long time. There's Gerald Fourie. He's got about 5 seconds to Willem Botha, but with a bit of help from traffic, might just make the difference. Ian Riddle and Peter van der Spey now into the pits.
Now there is Fourie, and there is Stephen. That's Gerald and Graham in that 4th and 5th positions. There is Sander Bakari coming through, and he's 15 seconds is Sander Bakari behind Graham Stephen. As a matter of fact, he's going to put a lap there on Peter Hubert shortly. Well, Sander Bakari, Colin Plitt 2.9 seconds behind Sander Bakari is Colin Plitt, and that will then be that fight for that 6th position. There is Willem Pienaar. He's there in that 8th position, and he and JJ van der Merwe is all over the back bumper there of 7th place man Colin Plitt.
Herman Lazarus still inside of the top 10 with the cheapcars.co.za entry. Remember, Ian Riddle was ahead of him earlier on, but Ian Riddle, having that incident, has found himself now just inside of the top 10. Willem Botha has gone into the pits, so that's going to take him out of it, because there goes Graham Stevens, going to be the next one's going to come through there, and he's going to move ahead of Willem Botha. Can Sander Bakari make up the position as well? Yep, it looks like Sander is also going to make up that position. He was a long, long way back, and looked like he's making up the time, and he also runs past through. So Willem Botha only now on his way out of the pits. There he comes. That's going to cost.
Well, I'm watching this fight for 5th position. Plitt and Pienaar, they've been chopping and changing positions all the time, and Van der Merwe has been in there as well. It is a massive, massive fight there for that P6. As these guys, here comes Plitt, because why? This replay, Pienaar went wide. And then Pienaar comes right back at Plitt again, and that's been going on all the time while we were watching the guys making their way through into the pit area. So those guys have been chopping and changing positions, and trouble out there, sadly, for the Frenchman Gerald Mouget.
And a bit of a problem there for Colin Plitt. He got nibbled from behind, and that punted him out right off the circuit. And then Peter van der Spey had a little incident as well, also in a very similar situation, but he just locked up the back. Lovely bright orange wheels, you can't miss that, and that took him out of it as well. So the bold man, Robbie Teens, he's on his way to the pits to sort that one out, as Francois Hubert puts up the fastest lap of the race. Now starting to stretch the legs of Ludwig Easy.
Yeah, we've lost 3 drivers in this one. One never made it, René Hubert, and sadly retirement there for Johan Fourie and for Steve McCarthy. The 2 of them are out as well, with René not even making it out onto the circuit. But the fight still goes on here for that 3rd position between Gerald Fourie and Graham Stephen. 5/10 of a second between Gerald and Graham. And they've been going at each other for pretty much of these 23 minutes that has expired so far, and that includes pit stops. So the 2 of them are going one-on-one there for that 3rd position. But Gary down there in P6. There's a lovely little war going on out there between Willem Pienaar, Johannes van der Merwe, and Herman Lazarus.
Trying to pick up what exactly happened with Johan Fourie. I don't see any major incidents for him, but there must have somewhere been heavy contact that's just too much damage on that motor car and have to go into the pits for too long, and that's just taken him completely out of the ring.
So it's not done yet for that 6th position of Willem Pienaar, because Van der Merwe and Lazarus is right there. Van der Merwe is 6/10 of a second behind Pienaar, and Lazarus only 3/10 of a second behind Van der Merwe. And that's the 3 cars you see on your screen there, heading through the bank oval, heading towards the end of the lap. And then they will go into turn number 1.
And who are these 2? Have they raced together before?
No, they've been together for 24 minutes.
And there's nothing between them. Nothing whatsoever.
As they go now into turn number 1, that is Gerald Fourie and Graham Stephen fighting it out there for that 4th position. Well, this fight behind Pienaar has blown itself apart slightly as we keep an eye on our leaders. Van der Merwe is still in there behind Pienaar, but however, Lazarus and Botha and Plit for that matter, there you can see them. There's only a second or so between them, so they can still catch up there onto the back end of Van der Merwe that is chasing down Pienaar.
Lazarus finding himself in the top 10 with Willem Botha in 9th. Colin Plitt not that far behind. It's a look back to Colin. Wow, there's Colin Plitt. So not out of it whatsoever. It's nice to see Johannes van der Merwe is having a pretty good race once again. And Johannes van der Merwe is a little bit further up the track, and he's putting a lot of pressure there on Willem Pienaar. Now, Pienaar's a long way back from, well, let's call it a long way, from Sandro Bakari and 6 seconds. So for him to get a top 5 is not a major. To hold on to that 7, look at that, they are lining up behind him. Showtime.
Well, you were always going to see that overshoot happen there from Herman Lazarus. Going into that corner, he went in so hard, he almost went into the back end there of Van der Merwe. That's why he ran so wide. Now all of a sudden, he has got the Willem Botha right there with him, and Botha's got him. Willem Botha nails him and moves up into P8. Does Willem Botha, getting his nose ahead there of now 9th place man, Herman Lazarus.
Almost forgotten about the fact that Francois Hubert is up front and pulling away. Remember, we said 6 seconds. He's taken on Ludwig Easy. Well, make that 8.5. It's just stretching it out in the front. I think he's got the right second.
Watch out for Botha. Here it comes up on the inside of Van der Merwe. The 2 of them are side by side on your screen, and he's going to get him. Yes, Botha gets his nose ahead there of JJ Van der Merwe, and now he'll be lining up his next victim there, which will be Willem Pienaar.
Johan Engelbrecht to the pits, as well as Peter van der Spey. In fact, Peter van der Spey's been in the pits for quite a while, and that's going to take...
Oh, sorry, Gary, running very wide there is Pienaar, and he has lost 3 positions, well, 2 for now. He might even lose another one to Lazarus.
Well, it's what happens when you run as tight as what they are running there now. So we're not doing a really decent job in that 8th position. Castrol car, oh, he's got cars right in front, he's got cars right behind. Don't have Cameron Lazarus. He's looking pretty racy on this one. Castrol car runs it wide, and Cameron Lazarus is going to now pick up the go.
Yeah, well, Pina was trying a little bit too hard and overdriving that Chevy Daytona. Lost 2 positions and might even lose out to Lazarus as well. Just ahead of Pina is Botha and Van der Merwe. And all over his back end there is Lazarus. There's 0.2 of a second. Look at these guys are side by side. But they're going to put a lap there on one of the back markers, these two. And who are these two? Well, they're commonly known as Gerald Fourie and Graham Stephen.
You say they've raced against one another before?
Yeah, they think so. They just put a lap there on Eugene Manouk.
If nothing else, they've done 17 laps in 27 minutes and 48 seconds together, no doubt about it. We'll come back to that one. But the man that's under pressure is, oh, there they go again. We'll have to stay with that one. Then we can go back to JJ Van der Merwe. Oh, these two are so good. They've obviously got very high respect. Oh! Commentators, because I was going to say they've got great respect for one another, and unfortunately, making the contact there on the back bumper was Graham Stephen onto the back of Gerald Fourie. Can Gerald Fourie get it back on the circuit pretty quickly? Let's see how long it takes him to actually get in there. Yeah, that's just one breaking a little bit earlier than the other, and that takes him out of that. Unfortunately, Gerald Fourie taking a bit of time to get it past the French into the English. I mean, off the grass and back onto the circuit, and there he gets it going again. Runs pretty wide to make sure he doesn't make contact with anybody else coming through. Mike Berrier's into the pits, but frankly, let's go from the top end down. 17 laps done. 28 almost 29 minutes, so we're almost halfway in, so probably about another 9 minutes to 10 minutes before they go back into the pits again. The man that's leading out once again, remember it was Luc Lucchesi and Francois Hubert as teammates on Sunday, just 3 days ago. They were racing together, now they are racing against one another.
And that's it, first and second. It is that man you see there in your screen, Francois Hubert, the Just race car, sitting out there in P1 with Luc Lucchesi. Gerald Fourie's in pit lane, just by the way, with that man there, Luc Lucchesi, in that second position. Then Graham Stephen is the man that's out there in that third position. You can understand why Fourie's in pit lane. That's because of the contact between himself and Graham Stephen, and clearly he didn't feel that that car is doing what it has to do. That's why he jumped into pits. So that is Graham Stephen. Then you got Sandro Bakari, who's going to put a lap there on Robbie Teens. He sits there in that fourth position. Does Sandro Bakari, 3.5 seconds behind him in P5.
Robbie's not giving it up.
No, not
hanging in there.
But he's a back marker, so he should abide by the blue flags and let the guys go through. And that is Sandro Bakari that you see there in that fourth place, will be screaming and shouting and saying, "Come on, Robbie, just hold your line, let me get through. You are the back marker. I need to get through." Why? Because the man in P5, Willem Botha, has only 2.4 seconds behind him, and there comes P5. Here comes Willem Botha, and Willem would say, "You just keep on holding him up so I can get through." But Johannes van der Merwe is in that sixth position, 2.9 seconds behind Botha, but he's battling heavily here with Lazarus and with Pina. They're sitting in P7 and 8, and only 1.5 seconds behind them in P9 is Colin Plitt. So the three of them, you could even make it 4, because Plitt is now in there as well. He's also under a second, and Plitt's got Pina. Plitt has got Pina because there was contact there.
Eugene Manouk was the man that was trying to. He made way for the first car, made way for the second car. There, how Lazarus comes through, Eugene Manouk running wide and trying to stay out of the way. Here, the Castrol car comes through, and unfortunately, the two of them make contact, and that takes the Castrol car one position down. And well, it wasn't from a lack of trying. I must say, he did clearly try and make space for the guys to come through and not affect them. Willem Pina into the pits.
Yeah, well, he will go into pits with that contact between himself and Eugene Manouk, and that's why Pina has jumped there into the pit lane. Obviously, also not happy, just like Gerald Fourie, with the handling of that motor car. So Ian Riddle is there in that ninth position, and he's going to put a lap there on the Wins car that's been driven by Swiss Hubert. Ian in P9, Swiss in P17. As a matter of fact, Ian's gone up 9, Swayze has gone up 2, but still finds himself all the way down in 17th position and about to be lapped there by that pink camouflage car driven by Ian Riddle.
It's a pity there for Willem Botha, I must say. I think he would be a bit disappointed with that, but let's have a look at what it looked like from Willem Botha.
So there's Willem Botha. This is a replay of Willem Botha. And, just losing it there. All on his own in that dogleg section, the infield section.
That was just a case of trying a little bit too hard. 1 hour race, probably 2 pit stops, 32 minutes into it. Probably about 2 laps from now is when you're going to find the leaders are going to be coming in. So who is the leader? The man that was racing as a teammate to the man in second position just a couple of days ago. There's France. Oh, look, Lukizi. Luke Lukizi's had a problem. I think it was probably Wayne Camage was another car that was involved.
Yes, the Martini car.
Lukizi, Martini car in front. Luke goes flying up on the inside, and yeah, they weren't that close to one another. Surprised the computer computed, for lack of a better word, that one like that, but unfortunately, that's what made the difference there. And that also affected Ian Riddle. Let's see what happened with Ian Riddle. As he looked right around on that outside line. Hard on the brakes coming through. Oh, he just pulled it through just a little bit too tight, and it touched on the grass on the inside, and that's what took him away. So Willem Pina is on his way into the pits, and well, he should make it 33:45 of the 100 minutes, well, the 1 hour mark, should I say, not 100 minutes, it's 60 minutes an hour. It's a standard Greenwich Meridian. Francois Hubert leading out from Look Easy.
Yeah, but now there's 11 seconds between Francois and Luke. But Luke is safe because there's 22 seconds between himself and that man you see there in third position, namely Graham Stephen. And he's 6.9 seconds ahead of that car there. That is Sandro Bakari. Here is Willem Botha. But Luke is right there behind him. Johannes van der Merwe and Herman Lazarus. That's the 2 cars you see there. That's hunting down the man in P5 in car number 4. Namely Willem Botha. There goes van der Merwe. And there comes Lazarus. And van der Merwe just ahead of Lazarus there. And both of them are going after the number 4 car in P5 of Willem Botha.
Very, very tight section. This you've got to come down through the gears and hard on the brakes. And the way that you come out of that corner makes a massive difference to this short squirt that you've got here. And as you can see, he made it through there very neatly, and that brought him pretty close. Actually rolls out of the gas and harder on the brakes, drift the nose slightly out. That costs him a bit of a distance between the two of them, but he was making sure that he could make contact. Herman Lazarus, to my mind, and Sandro Bakari can be super tough with what they've managed to achieve so far.
Yeah, Herman in the 7th position. And as a matter of fact, since he's began to take part in this iRacing series, he's improved in leaps and bounds. There is Colin Plitt. He's in P8, but he's 3.3 seconds behind Lazarus, who's still over the back end of Van der Merwe. And then in 9th position, 15 seconds behind Colin Plitt. In that top 10 is the number 1 motor car of Ian Riddle. And then in that top 10, in 10th position, 11 seconds behind Riddle is Gerald Fourie. And keep in mind, he was having a fight with Graham Stephen not too long ago for that 3rd position.
Yeah, that was a very unfortunate incident. It actually looked initially like Graham Stephen was going to slow down and wait for him to come along again. But obviously it was going to take too long. And he thought, oh, well, I have to carry on and just apologize for that contact that they had. It's one of those things.
And just outside the top 10, 18 seconds behind Gerald Fourie in P11 is Johan Engelbrecht. And he is 19 seconds behind Gerald Fourie. And then in 12th position, nearly 13 seconds behind Engelbrecht is Willem Pina. And once upon a time, he was as high up as 6th, 7th was Willem Pina. But yeah, it didn't go right for him when he made contact earlier on with Eugene Manouk. He made contact, and that is the reason why you find him all the way in that 12th position. Then, only 1.9 seconds behind him in P13 is Dr. Mike Verrier, who was at once upon a time, Gary, I think as high as, I think, 5th position, 5th, 6th position, as Francois Joubert comes into pits. So this is the first of the second routine pit stops, and Francois Joubert and Luc Lucchesi dive into the pits at the same time as they did previously.
I think you're going to find that Graham Stephen, by the time he gets there, if he goes into the pits, he's going to be, as he pulls in, they're going to be pulling out on the other side, because he was going through there. 23 seconds behind them was Graham Stephen. Are we going in? Yes, he is. Graham Stevens going in. So what happens to Sandro Bakari? Surely Sandro Bakari, 37 minutes, 48 seconds. Sandro Bakari going to dive in there. Yep, there he goes. There goes Sandro Bakari. Ooh, heavy on the brakes, sneaking to make sure that he doesn't go in there too deep. Herman Lazarus decides time to go. And Johannes van der Merwe in there as well. A little bit further back, 18 seconds further back, is Ian Riddle. Keep in mind, Francois Joubert and Luc Lucchesi have already left the pits and are out on the other side. Here comes Ian Riddle in the, like to refer to as the pink pig, but it's not, it's just plainly a pink motor car. So that'll be his last time into the pits. Gerald Free, you got to feel sorry for him. He was having a beautiful pass, but I mean, they were just so close to one another, lap for lap, corner for corner. And yeah, eventually it's cost him pretty dearly and dropped him almost out of the top 10.
Well, he moves up into P6. Why? He did not go into the pits, did Gerald
Remember,
Fourie?
he went in and out of sync with everybody else because of the damage. But
Correct.
does he have a splash and dash later? I tend to think so.
Well, we'll have a look and see. It could still come back. The race could still come back to Gerald Fourie. We'll have to look as Ian Riddle is even his entire setup, his whole pit setup is there in pink as well. Here comes Mike Verrier, and he's right in there with Willem Pina. There's Pina, there's Verrier in there behind him. 11th and 12th position for Willem Pina, and then for Mike Verrier, that's just in there behind him. There is the Doc. Ricobala Racing and 8 Ball 24/7.
So let's see, general, how many pit stops has been done by our top boys, 2 all the way through. So as you can see, oh, there Willem Buiten goes into the pit lane now.
Oh.
So that's going to take him out, because he was out of sync there. He did do a pit stop earlier on, and going into the pit lane now. So that's going to drop him a little bit down the order. Everybody else all the way down to 14th position, having done the 1 stop. And Willem Buiten is in the pit lane.
And going all over the place and very wide, there was Willem Pina, as we see Willem Buiten standing there in the pit lane. He still shows 4th on the leaderboard. He starts to move and he makes his way out onto the circuit, so he will hopefully hang on to that 4th position. He might not. Sandro Bakari, yes, Sandro Bakari does get him, and I think Fourie will get him as well. Yes, Gerald Fourie. I just watched those 2 cars go through, and there you see on the leaderboard that Sandro and Gerald is now ahead there of Willem Buiten from P4 down to P6.
Well, to catch up to the back of Gerald Fourie, 1.8 seconds, I think that's pretty unlikely.
Oh, that's doable.
It's doable, but then again, look how far out of sync this man is. I don't say it with disrespect, but Sandro Bakari not normally in the top 2, 3, 4. He's normally 5th, 6th, 7th, around about there. And he's 12 seconds off Graham Stevens, so a top 3 can only be achieved with 19 minutes to go by one of the front ones dropping out. And Gerald Fourie, that has been right up front, will fancy that his lap times are quick enough, and he's already got himself within 0.3 of a second of Sandro Bakari to try and get into that position.
The 2 target cars are sitting nose to tail. Fourie has got target there on the man just ahead of him, and that is Sandro Bakari.
Go again.
As Gerald is going to have a go at him somewhere. There's only 5/10 of a second between Sandro and the man behind him, Gerald Fourie.
Yeah, the slipstream comes into it. Look at the time stumble.
Yeah, it will. It's now 4/10, 3/10 of a second between Bakari and Fourie. It'll go to 2/10. It'll go to 1/10 of a second. There, 1.6 as a matter of fact. Gerald goes and sits there on the outside of Sandro Bakari. Is he going to go for the lunge? I would not think so, because that's going into turn number 1, and it just tightens up on you, turn 1, as they head now towards the first of the horseshoes. Then they go through the dog leg, which will take them towards the second horseshoe, then a bit of a straight before they go back onto the bank oval in turn 3.
And Gerald Ferrier's going to have to hoof it up a little bit, because he's got a small problem that's looming right behind him as well.
Yeah, it's called Willem Botha. As a matter of fact, there's only 4/10 of a second between Fourie and Botha. So Gerald's going to have to make a go and go quickly at Sandro Bakari. But the odds-on favorite, yeah, these guys know. They know that Willem Botha is there. And the smart money, with all respect to Sandro and Gerald, would certainly be on Willem Botha to move from P6 back up into that 4th position.
Very similar paint colors, but well, it's red, it's blue, but that's many similarities. And apart from the lap times, nothing much in it. Who's going to make it through there? Sandro Bakari still ahead of Gerald Ferrier. And Willem Botha is definitely going to make a meal out of this one. Now, Frankie, once they get up onto the banking, surely he will drop down, pick up the slipstream, and try and do that slick shot all the way around the outside.
Yeah, but this is where Botha's going to have to be careful. These guys are so involved. You see, they're so involved in their own fight. They're moving all over the place and might not realize that Botha's there. Botha will say, what do I do? Do I have a go somewhere, or do I just hold back and wait for these two to mow into each other? As somebody just got it all wrong there. That is Gerald Ferrier. Just lost the racetrack there for a brief moment.
I think he's going to slow it right down and make sure that he does not make up a position under those conditions, and then get it going again thereafter. So Gerald Ferrier, he slowed right down, slowing down for a long time. Why would he be doing that?
I don't know, something is not right there with the Gerald Ferrier's whole setup, because
unless he's waiting for Graham Stephen, and he doesn't want to take that position away incorrectly and or unfairly.
But why? He was fighting with Sandro Bakari.
Well, there he turns it off onto the grass, does Gerald Ferrier.
So there's a problem there. Something is wrong. Maybe with the sim rig, something isn't quite right there. And I think he's just moving the car right out the way. Is Gerald Ferrier.
But remember, Gerald Ferrier was out of sync with everybody else earlier on with the pit stops. Let's look at the pit lap that he went in. Has he maybe run out of fuel as Gerald Ferrier?
That is also a possibility. I never thought of that one, Gary. Yes, that is a strong possibility.
Although it shows a lap 26, so it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
Either way, Peter van der Spaes into the pits, and Gerald Ferrier, I think, is going to be jumping to the pits as well. So we go back to the man up front, Francois Joubert, and he's got the legs today on the cookies.
Yeah, 15 minutes still to go, and there is huge gaps between everybody all the way down to Mike Vera. It's only Mike and Willem Pinaar that's having a fight out there on the circuit for that 10th position. Otherwise, the gaps are pretty huge out there. There you see Mike, and there you see Willem. Mike in P10, Willem in P11, 3/10 of a second between them. Johan Engelbrecht is in pit lane. Eugene Manouk is also, for that matter, in pit lane. And here comes Pinaar. Here comes Willem Pinaar. The inside line is being defended there by Dr. Mike Verrier, with Willem Pinaar. Will he sprint around him on the outside? He's going to go for it, and yes, very brave.
Can
but
he could.
Yeah.
Mike says, go, keep on track.
That's why I said very brave, because turn 1 closes up on you big time.
He literally crossed the line there, that it showed the pit exit as he went across there. And coming out of the pits is Johan Engelbrecht. So he's been back to the pits, but remember, he was involved with the incident earlier on, and he was out of sync, I do believe, with the normal pit stops, and that's what brings him out back into the circuit, and that ahead of Peter Joubert. And Peter Joubert, well, almost a minute back from him is Peter Joubert. So Frankie, let's do a quick wrap. We've got around about 13 minutes to go. Graham Stevens come in. Where's Willem Botha? There's Willem Botha. 15 seconds back. Well, is that a splash and dash? Probably. If that's a splash and dash, I think Willembote might just pop into the top 3.
Well, let's have a look and see. He's still in that pit lane. And here comes Willembote. Willembote surely will move up into that third place and does so. Willembote goes into third. Sander Bakari goes into fourth position. And Graham Stephen, making his way out of the pits, will come out in P6 because Hammer Lazarus has gone through as well. And so was Colin Plitt for that matter. So he rejoins from P3, he rejoins in P7.
Ouch and Pina. Not what he expected whatsoever. Hammer Lazarus has a look up on the inside line and he makes up that position. Sander Bakari ran it a bit wide with the target car. So Hammer Lazarus, the two cars, not COVETTE, not ZA, goes past the car of Sander Bakari, the target car. And now, it's accustomed to being the 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, you see commentators curse once again. I was going to say, can he handle that pressure? Boom, off the track he goes. Hammer Lazarus drops down behind Sander Bakari. And you know what Sander's like. Sander ain't going to give that one away very easy with just 12 minutes to go.
And in between them, you've got the man that sits in 15th position, one lap down, that is Robbie Teens. And that's what Herman doesn't want. He doesn't want the back marker between himself and Sander Bakari. So let's have a look-see. There is Robbie Teens. He is a back marker, but I'll tell you what, he's one of the quickest back markers out there. I can only presume he was involved. I think he was involved in that opening lap disaster. Otherwise, I do believe that Robbie would have been a hell of a lot higher up that leaderboard. Because look at the speed Robbie's got out there compared to Sander Bakari. And if that's the case, you've got to feel sorry for Robbie because he's quick. He's got the power, he's got the speed, he's got the performance. He loves to drive this thing. He knows how to drive this thing. But sadly, because of the issues earlier on, he finds himself all the way down in 15th position.
Well, Robbie's actually got the turn of speed there. A very good turn of speed. He's actually breaking away from Sander Bakari. Hammer Lazarus would have been hoping that there would be a little bit of an incident between the two of them, that they would end up side by side and slow one another down. Because there's Hammer Lazarus. He's not that far behind. And Colin Plitt, one of his best for a long time as well. There's Colin Plitt, and he is well on his way to very close to a top 5. Anything happens up front, Colin's going to pick up a top 5 tonight.
Well, if anybody deserves a top 5, it is that man in car 75, namely Colin Plitt. But he could. There's only 0.8 of a second between himself and Hammer Lazarus. As we have a look at that front left-hand side suspension and that disc brake there of the 75 Chevy Daytona C7 of Colin Plitt, as he is just outside the top 5. As a matter of fact, Lazarus is all over the back of Sander Bakari as well. So with his Lazarus and Plitt, that's fighting there for Bakari's 4th position.
Robbie Teagues finds himself in the middle of that, but he's got the pace. Does he, by rights, have to back off? Well, I don't say back off, but I suppose he's got to actually move out the way to let him carry on with the fight. But he's got the pace. He's almost quicker than what they are. And I think if he had to get past Sander Bakari, he might actually drive away.
Yeah, I really feel sorry for Robbie. I know I've said it before, and I'm going to say it now, the 72 times before the checkered flag comes out, because clearly he's got the, as I said earlier on, the power, the speed, the pace, the performance, it's all there. But due to circumstances at the beginning of this one, he finds himself where he is. Technically, he's supposed to hold the line and let them go through and not fight with them, as Willem Pina is there in the pit lane. That is technically, and he's supposed to just hold the line, lift off slightly, and just allow the guys that are fighting for position to go through.
See, Frankie, that's where the thing comes. Hold your line, yes. Do you need to lift off? What does the rule say? Should you lift off and let the man pass? If you don't fast enough to come past me, I'm just going to sit on the line. I'm not really hindering you as such. So it's a bit of a difficult one. I suppose from a sportsmanly point of view, he should let it go and let Herman go and have a look at the back end of Sander Bakari. But then again, this is a race.
Yeah, but you can't ignore the blue flags. But in any case, it's neither here nor there. These guys are having a good fight out there, and of course, Robbie is involved in that one as well. So 51 minutes done, nearly 52 minutes. Peter Hubert is in pit lane, but there is Colin Plitt. Colin Plitt 6/10 of a second behind Lazarus. There is Lazarus. There is Plitt ahead of them. Is Robbie Teens. And then we have got the Bakari. That's just ahead of all of that. He sits there in that 4th position. So, Colin Plitt, can he have a go? I'd love Colin Plitt to get a top 5. Nothing against Herman, but Colin Plitt's always mid-pack to low down. And I would really, really like Colin Plitt to finish this one based on that in 5th position.
Well, it's getting pretty tight right in front. He's going to grab that one just a little bit wide as they came in there. So Herman will get good drive out of the corner as opposed to Colin. Herman Lazarus, can he take the pressure? Yes, he can. Sitting in that 5th position, Colin Plitt right in there behind him. Robbie Teens, the man that's about to be lapped, if it's going to happen. There's just 7 minutes to go. But you can't really blame Robbie Teens for staying right in there, because at the end of the day, he's very much on the exact same pace as what they are. Don't forget about Johannes van der Merwe. JJ's just gone in, and that's probably going to take him out of a possible top 10 position. Lots of traffic. Herman Lazarus, where does he go from here?
Well, he's going to have to try and get past Teens, because if he can't get past Teens, he's going to be gobbled up here by Colin Plitt. He's 9/10 of a second behind Bakari is Lazarus. They are eliminating that, the back marker. But Colin Plitt is only 5/10 of a second behind Lazarus. The question is, with 7 minutes to go, approaching 6.5. Get off, Colin Plitt, no! No. I gave him the commentator's curse, really. And that's Colin Plitt smashing it up against the tyre barrier.
That's big.
Oh, I would love to have seen him get a top 5.
I think that car might not go all that much further. Herman Lazarus is saying, listen, all 4 of you, get out of the way. I've got serious stuff happening here. 2 cars coming into the pits. That's Gerald Maget and Peter Joubert.
Yeah, the 2 of them making their way into the pit lane. Damn, Colin, that's a real pity. But the fight goes on, the race goes on between Lazarus, that is now 1.3 seconds behind Sandro Bakari. Where is Graham Stephen? There he is. He's 1.7 seconds behind Hammer Lazarus. Colin Plitt jumped into pit lane. Well, he had no choice, because he smashed that thing up as hard as he could against the tyre barrier.
Well, he's gone to the pits and he now drops down, does Colin Plitt. He's still sitting there in the pit lane. And unfortunately for him, with just 6.5 minutes to go, plowing it into the barrier, and Colin Plitt is just dropping further and further down. There the car stands, and there he gets it off the line, and that is presently in a 9th position. Make that 10th as Johan Engelbrecht works his way past the pit exit, and Colin comes out now. Whereabouts is Willem Pina? There comes Willem Pina as well. Who's going to make the dash down into the next corner? It's going to be Willem Pina that's going to go through as well, and that drops Colin yet another one, and that takes him just out of the top 10 with only 5 to go.
Yeah, well, he's only 1.5 seconds behind Willem Pina, so he might still be able to get a top 10 in this one, will Colin Plitt. So we'll have a look and see, will it be 11th position? It could even be 12th, because Mike Verrier is only 2.6 seconds behind Colin Plitt. However, Hammer Lazarus and Sandro Bakari, and they've still got Robbie Teens in there between them. Now, that's exactly what Sandro Bakari wants. He wants to keep Robbie Teens in there behind him as a buffer between himself and Hammer Lazarus. And on the other hand, or the other end of the scale, that is exactly what Hammer Lazarus does not want.
Although it could come into play if he picks up the slipstream on a Robbie Teens, that can slingshot him past Robbie Teens and then close him up onto the back of
race
Sandro
leader.
Bakari. Wow!
Race leaders in the pits.
There's something else. How could that be? Well, we're going to have to stay on that. We're going to have to stay who, where, how, what, and oh, look, Lucchese comes in as well. So, Mike Verrier once again pulls the move on the boys and says, I think it's going to be 2 pit stops. Icona, you ain't going to make it till the end. So, what does Willem Botha do? Remember, he's slightly out of sync. This could catapult him further forward, but no, it's not going to. 42 seconds, Francois Joubert splash and dash on his way out, and Luc Lucchese as well. Let's just see how long that pit time was. It must be very quick. Yeah,
yep.
Look at that, 5.7 and 8.6 Luke Lucchese playing just a little bit safer than Francois Hubert, saying, I need a little bit more juice than that. Let's make sure we can make it happen. Herman Lazarus, Graham Stephen, that one's going to go till the end.
Well, it's pretty safe now between Francois Hubert and Luke Lucchese. 13.2 seconds. There's 3 minutes to go. They have wrapped up first and second. Buerta, I believe, would have wrapped up that third position. And Sander Bakar is in the pits. Sander Bakar is in the pits. And he will lose the positions because Lazarus will go through. Graham Stephen has gone through. And Graham is ahead now of Lazarus as well. So Sander Bakari diving into pit lane, that's going to cost Bakari big time.
That's the Graham Stephen maneuver. Oh, that's a bit different. He comes up on the inside. Everybody else normally tries to go around the outside. Graham Stephen in the Gulf colors works his way there past Herman Lazarus. That was the replay of that one. Sander Bakari now on his way out of the pits in 6th position. Where's JJ? JJ a little bit further back, so Sandra's going to hold onto that one as he comes out of the pit lane. Yes, he does. So that works out all fine for him. 2 minutes, 10 seconds to go. Colin Plitt also back into the pits, and Herman Lazarus has gone off. Herman Lazarus has gone off. Wow, it all worked out so well up until this point. And I think he just started losing a bit of ground, and oopsie. That's the first time we've seen somebody go that wide that they actually stick it into the tyre wall, and that's going to cost them pretty dearly so late in the race. Ian Riddle has gone into the pits. Colin Plitt is still in the pits, so I think that's going to take Colin. Your odds-on favourite for a completely out-of-sync result tonight. That's what Willem Buerta goes in. There's Willem Buerta. Graham Stephen, here he comes. Graham Stephen, 15 seconds. I don't know if Graham's going to make it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he might. I think he might just make it. We'll have a look and see, because yes, he does. He does. Buerta still standing still. He's only working his way out of pits now. And Graham Stephen has gone back up into that third position as Lazarus busy makes his way into the pit area. Is Herman Lazarus for a pit stop, and he's pitting there out of that fifth position.
Willem been accident with a Castrol car. Let's see what happened to Willem as we just about 30 seconds before the end of this race. Yet another person, same spot. Well, that's quite surprising because we've had nobody do that earlier on. All of a sudden now, 2 people having the exact same scenario.
Yeah, Pina and of course Lazarus. So the checkered flag should be coming out shortly.
I think he might have to do extra.
I do believe he's going to have to do another lap. Yes, he's going to have to. Let's have a look and see. Yeah, he's going to have to. There's a start-finish line. He's got 9 seconds to go. So another lap will be done by Francois Hubert.
It all goes pear-shaped right at the end for Ian Riddle as well, the man from Port Elizabeth that rides with his BMW in the sports cars there. Well, he gets it sideways, but he gets it all back together again, and away he goes. Colin Plitt, frankly, I can tell you, he's still standing in the pit lane, and he's dropped all the way down to 8th. Back to the leader, Francois Hubert.
Yeah, I think it's all over for Colin Plitt, and that is a big, big shame, though. However, it's not a shame for this man, the man that won the iRacing Masters Season 2. He won it. Fourie won Season 1, and Fourie won Season 3. He won Season 2. Lucchese won Season 4. We're currently busy with Season 5. So this man's going to do it once again. 12.5 seconds behind Luke Lucchese, the man that won Season 4. Is that man Francois Hubert? And pretty soon this man will see the checkered flag here at Daytona International Raceway. Not quite there yet. They're through that kink. And that is the Le Mans chicane, I should say. Then around the corner, and then on his way to the checkered flag.
Well, it's been a masterful drive really. It's not only today, but Sunday as well. Winning out the Masters group was that man, Francois Hubert, and with him was the man that's going to end up in second place today. There where the green light is, that's where the start-finish line is. Flashes the light as he goes across, and the next man to come through will be Luke Lucchese.
Yeah, Lucchese nearly 12 seconds behind him. Just around that corner he comes. You'll see that line. There it is, and Lucchese will finish in that second position. And well done to Graham Stephen. He's 33 seconds basically behind Luke Lucchese as he works his way out of that Lamar chicane and heads into turn number 3. From turn number 3, he'll go into turn number 4. It immediately leads into turn 4, and then from there towards the checkered flag. And Graham Stephen will finish in that third position. Just got that one little kink to go. There he flashes his lights, and that is third place for Graham Stephen. Gary, a great drive there by Buerta to make it home in P4, 8 seconds behind Stephen.
I think it's one of his best results for quite a long time for Willem Buerta as he works his way past the cars that are standing. Sandra Bakari, another good drive for Sandra, and you've got to say, more and more often you find Sandra Bakari in the front 8, if you want to call it that.
There's a checkered flag for Bakari, and here comes JJ van der Merwe. There's only 2 more cars on the lead lap. He is one of them. The last car on the lead lap is this man that sits in 7th position, Hammer Lazarus, and he will finish there 12.6 seconds behind Van der Merwe in P7, and he is the last driver on the lead lap. Only 7 of the 23 drivers finishing this one on the lead lap.
Wow. Always great to see these type of races and the way that it ends up. It's brilliant stuff. You really got to enjoy it, no doubt about it. So let's have a look, see how this one pans out for the race itself. And there we go. Francois Joubert, Luc Lucchese, teammates on Sunday, rivals on Wednesday.
Yeah, and Graham Stephen, that is your podium. Francois P1, Luke P2, Graham Stephen P3, with Willem Buerta, Sandra Bakari, JJ van der Merwe, and Herman Lazarus in P7, and the last car on the lead lap from Veria all the way down 1 lap or more behind the top 7.
Johan Engelbrecht, once again, around about the 8th, 9th, 10th position. A pretty decent drive for him. Willem Pina from Ian Riddle, 2 offs for Ian Riddle. That cost him pretty big. Robbie Teens, well, the comeback kid just couldn't put it all together today. Finds himself in 12th, very much on the pace, but just those niggly bits not coming to play at the right time. And when he did have the bad luck, well, it cost him pretty big, and there was just time that he couldn't make up.
Yeah, then we got Space Joubert, Peter Joubert, Wayne Camage, Peter van der Spey, Gerald Murger, and the man, as far as I'm concerned, that gets bad luck of the day is Colin Plitt.
Yep, I agree with you 100%.
Because
wow.
it would have been a 6th, and it could have been a 5th.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You will be disappointed with that one. Eugene Minuk from Gerald Furry, another bad luck trophy must go to Gerald Furry as well. Stephen McCarthy, Sujin Properties, SS Racing, and 8ball 24/7. He was also doing very, very well. It just didn't work out. And then for Johan Furry, well, I don't know, somehow he's just had such bad luck recently. Finds himself in the wrong place at the wrong time, and more often than not recently has not been able to get the results that's actually due to him. Yeah. But keep in mind, he does have new equipment. He has to get accustomed to that.
Yes.
And when he does, I think Luc Lucchese, Francois Joubert, don't look in your mirror, look out the front windscreen, because I think that's what you're going to see.
I got a funny feeling. Yes, he has been in the wrong place at the wrong time, which is not his doing. But he does have new equipment, that I can guarantee you. And I think once he's got the feel of that lot and it's set up the way that he wants it, I do believe you're going to see a Johan Furry of old.
No doubt it's been a brilliant season to date. And Frankie, there was a time that we thought, I wonder how this will go, as opposed to GTE, as opposed to touring cars, as opposed to Porsche Cup, as opposed to the 6-hour races. Sports and GT Master Series is there to stay. 25 guys entered for the season, averaging around 23 per race. And a lot of people have said, oh, well, why don't we go for like 35 years of age and upwards? And Mike said, nope, let's stick with the seniors. We're getting better and better all the time. And whenever we get a chance to have a race against the youngsters, slowly but surely we're encroaching on where they are and be able to go one-on-one with the best of the young guns in South Africa.
Well, no, I fully agree. You don't want to make it any younger than 40. It's right the way it is. You don't want to go and scratch on a winning formula, because if you go and make it younger, you're going to lose a lot of these names that you see on that leaderboard there. However, it's been real. It's been good. It's been great. We're going to do some real-time racing this weekend, as Gary, FC, and myself will be off to George, to the George Motor Club. They've got a club event there, which includes a heavy metal national leg of the heavy metals at the George Motor Club. And then we'll see you back here next week, Gary. I think it's another round of the Masters.
Correct, correct. It will be another round of Masters racing. It'll be coming to you same time next week, Wednesday, from the Second Gear Production Studios, down here from the rather cold, friendly city of Cape Town. A big, big thanks for joining us. A big thanks to the voice of West Palms Motorsport, our regular voice of choice for iRacing in South Africa. From our side, Gary Fleming, thanks for this one, and see you soon at the next one. Good night, everybody.